Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth with sincerity. And a shout out to Yakims out there on four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. Bracha the Yahweh, Bracha the Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rakakadash, Brakatum. So, I'm going to start out with the mirth disappearing here in America as another retailer is closing shop for good. This time it happens to be Payless Shoe Stores. At the same time that Shopko is closing. This is another article on February 15 when I got a video for it as well that I'll be playing. But Payless Shoe Stores has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection and is shuttering its remaining stores in North America. The filing on Monday came after a day after the discount shoes chain began holding going out of business sales at its North American stores. Payless filed for bankruptcy in the Eastern District of Missouri, listing $500 million to $1 billion in debt, according to court filings. Payless sold discount shoes at luxury prices, and it worked. Sears, one dominant retailer, files for bankruptcy. Yeah, because we know that Sears is another one that has been going out. You know, pretty much Reading is losing a lot of stores to where it's going to be Walmart only, which is what the Illuminati, the secret societies, the handlers want. You know, to where you could only go to Walmart. The company based in Topeka, Kansas, updated the number of stores it's closing to 2,500 up to the 2,100 cited on Friday when it's confirmed it was planning to liquidate its business. Payless reiterated that stores will remain open until the end of March, so that's right around the corner. And the majority will remain open until May. You know, so again, you know, this is not very good. You know, and it affects us poor, you know. Most of us can't afford goddamn fucking Macy's or Kohl's or fucking J.C. Penney's, man. It's fucking too expensive. I'm gonna spend 50 or 60 goddamn dollars for a fucking pair of shoes when I got fucking bills to pay, you know. And that's just speaking, honestly, to what they like to call the poor, you know. Who the fuck has that kind of money? And when you go to the Goodwill store or Salvation Army, which I don't recommend it, but you buy a pair of used shoes and the soles on them only last for like maybe another week or so, and then, you know, you pretty much got nothing. So, you know, you can't do that. So, you know, unfortunately though, that's just it though, is they're getting rid of everything to where you're stuck with Walmart, which has very limited, and then there's Target for the remainder as long as that's open, and I don't see that lasting much longer. The debt burden chain filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection a first time in April 2007, so a couple of years ago. They were already struggling, closing hundreds of stores as a part of its reorganization. At the time, it had over 4,400 stores in more than 30 countries. It emerged from reconstruction 4 months later with about 3,500 stores and having eliminated more than $435 million in debt. So, a downward spiral. And of course, you and I both know that Sears, what happened is the guy who runs it, this current president, took out a bunch of loans, dividends, and had destroyed Sears, you know, and they did that on purpose. You know, they're purposely crashing shit, of course, because they want everything to submerge to the RFID system, which pretty much, as long as these things remain open, you know, nobody's going to want to shop at Walmart. I don't like shopping at Walmart if I can get it somewhere else. Okay, so here's this video here.
Business Insider reports that Payless Shoe Stores filed for bankruptcy and announced it will be closing all of its more than 2,000 stores. This is the second time in 2 years that the discount shoe retailer has filed for bankruptcy protection. In April of 2017, it did so and closed 400 stores immediately. A further 500 followed suit shortly after. The discount chain joins a string of retailers including Shopko, Gymboree, and Charlotte Russe that also filed for bankruptcy in the first 2 months of 2019.
Yep, and, well, you know, you can't help but notice those things if you live in a town that has both. I live in the town that has the only California Shopko, so, you know, that's just it, though. Target and Walmart seem to be the only places that you can shop. And, of course, we know how this devil works, you know, trying to get Kim Jong-un to disarm, which you know as well as I do, that if they disarm, they'll just be attacked like Libya, like Iraq was, just like Yemen is, you know, if they give up any defense. So, yeah, of course this is a no-go, but we'll just go ahead and let this video play, you know.
We begin this hour with the meeting between President Donald Trump and Chairman Kim Jong-un that abruptly ended with no deal in sight. Both leaders walked away from Hanoi summit within minutes of each other after both a lunch and a signing ceremony were canceled. Despite the fact that no agreement was made, some are still hopeful that time and possibly a different administration could strike a deal. Economics professor for the New York University, Ann Lee, spoke to RT earlier today.
A new administration might also bring different actors to the table and may have a different way of looking at the situation, given that North Korea is just one small geopolitical space amongst the entire world, where there are lots of other issues that the U.S. would have to confront from a foreign policy standpoint.
We now turn to RT's Scotty Nell Hughes, who's on the ground with more.
That's right, a whirlwind summit between President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un came to an abrupt end Thursday afternoon. As the press was lined up to be shuttled to the JW Marriott in Hanoi, reports came from the White House press pool that the talks would end early, a lunch between the leaders would be canceled, and the scheduled press conference would happen 2 hours ahead of schedule. I was in the briefing room this afternoon when President Trump and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo explained the disconnect that ended the summit early.
But we literally just left. We spent pretty much all day with Kim Jong-un, who is, he's quite a guy and quite a character, and I think our relationship is very strong. But at this time, we had some options, and at this time we...
And North Korea is going to fire nukes at this fucking piece of shit, America. And that's going to be a wonderful day. Oh, happy day. When this fucking place is bombed. You dropped a bomb on me. Moving on to other things. And remember Rex 84, you know, that report, one of the things is the man-made natural disasters would be a reason to bring in FEMA, which you can see, though, that, yeah, man, they're creating these floods, you know. Most High mostly has an issue with this place, so he's going to use the sword, which is Esau Edom, to come after the wicked and the two-thirds. So here we go. Here's another video, and this happened through the Napa Valley. So a lot of these wine crops, the things that makes California very productive, is getting flooded. So the Russian River is flooded. Thousands of homes and businesses have been damaged by the water, according to sources. The Sonoma County Sheriff's Office warned that Gwinsville residents could not get into or out of town without a boat. The National Weather Service expects waters to recede, yet more rain is expected later this week, though. And we just, had high winds, just a couple days ago here in Redding as well. Speaking of man-made natural disasters, here's another one that, they're going out there and they're putting up there, and this is, I believe, Dabu 7, talking about catastrophic volcanic eruptions in California that are inevitable. In other words, they're saying this will happen.
The USGS has put out a warning here this past Monday, stating that California's next big catastrophe might not be a massive earthquake, but instead it could be a volcanic eruption that could plunge the state into a post-apocalyptic kind of hellscape. Now, there's a lot of different areas where this could happen, and of course, if one goes off, it could set off a chain of events. Earthquakes could also be associated with volcanoes, and vice versa, depending on the chain of events that get set loose. Now, in this report that they just released on Monday, they say that at least 10 volcanic eruptions have taken place in the past 1,000 years. and that these future volcanic eruptions are inevitable. So this is just something else you're going to want to have in your survival plan, or factored in there. If you're on the West Coast, you should know your surroundings and know where the nearest volcanoes are. If they're dormant, if they're active, and all the other information that comes along with that. And surviving, especially if you seem to be in an area that's downwind often from a volcano, because as soon as it erupts, you're going to want to get out of that path and get out of the plume and the ash as soon as possible. Now, just because there's an eruption, it doesn't mean that it's going to be catastrophic, although there could be West Coast eruptions that cause some damage. We could have something similar to Mount St. Helens that erupted, something along that magnitude, and USGS is estimating these risks based on the past 5,000 years of volcanic activity in California. And they're saying that in this, they found that there's a 16% chance of a small to moderate size eruption over the next 30 years. By comparison, there's around a 22% chance of a magnitude 6.7 or larger earthquake hitting the San Andreas Fault in what they list as the San Francisco Bay Area in the next 25 years. So, like I said before, we've seen earthquakes associated with eruptions, so there could be an event where they're tied together. If you were to see something like that, that could cause a lot of destruction. It's definitely something you don't want to get caught in. But this is the alert that they put out. Wanted to make mention of it. I'll continue to update as they release more. I'll leave links below. Make sure to follow me on Twitter for the latest updates. It's been Dabu7. Peace.
And I'm just going to pull out some scriptures here. And I know we know all this one. I mean, Paul Bagley, The Coming Apocalypse show always opens up with this saying, but we here have the real truth, so no distortions here. Matthew chapter 23 and verse 3. Matthew 24 and verse 3, Savak. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the signs of thy coming, and of the end of the world? Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am anointed, I have the truth, and shall deceive many. And you shall hear of wars, rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled. We're seeing wars and rumors of wars. In fact, I'm going to show you more rumors of wars, because you know that this Venezuela thing is already a war. And rumors of war is Cuba and Nicaragua getting in the crosshairs. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And we're seeing that. We're seeing this big time floods, abnormalities, snow in Redding, snow in Hawaii, snow in Las Vegas, places that you wouldn't normally see them. And then you got this volcanic rumor. Kilauea volcano went off last year. And then there was more volcanoes in the Latin areas as well. All these are the beginning of sorrows. And then you're seeing this, especially with the InfoWars thing, which I'll show you at least 3 good videos. One of them from Brother Malcolm, and then another one from GMS Las Vegas. Yeah, man, InfoWars, including Alex Jones, has come after us. They shall deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. That's because we teach in the name of Yahweh and Yahushua, and we defend that name. And then shall many be offended, shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. We're the most hated because of the fact that we tell the truth. And they don't like it because it totally puts a wrench in stretched Christianity and exposes it for what it is. Now on to more rumors of war. Venezuela. And if it's not enough, I mean, this devil just keeps on, attacking, because we know that Venezuela was on the list of countries they were going to attack if you hadn't recapped what Aaron Russo was saying.
So proud, and we're certainly honored to have somebody who was there covering this story. You know, Dan Cohen, you did yeoman's work. You were at the border. I know things got hairy, and we're so glad that you're back, safe and sound, as we like to say. Here's a question that I've been asked by a lot of my friends in Miami who have told me about this. Even if Maduro sees this food, this humanitarian aid coming from the devil, right, the United States, why didn't he accept it? Because after all, if your people are hungry and somebody offers you food, who cares who it's coming from, right? Food is food.
Right.
Why didn't he take it?
Well,
again, why doesn't Bashar al-Assad take food from the devil, the United States, Esau Edom? Because the food is defiled. They fucking use GMOs and shit. You know, fucking dumbass, goddamn fucking Edomite.
okay, for one thing, they say that perhaps there's weapons on board those trucks. So, you know, with the involvement of Elliot Abrams, who in the 80s actually ordered his humanitarian aid officers to ship weapons on planes to Contras in Nicaragua. That aside...
So that was used as a ruse before in Central America by the same man who's doing that now.
Exactly.
All right, that's legitimate complaint. By the way, did they find any of this stuff there? Did you?
Actually, the photos that we saw of the burned truck, humanitarian aid truck, showed wires, what looked like coils of wires, and then the Venezuelans also said there were nails in it, which would be used for what they call guayas in these like violent riots, where they actually tie these across a road, and then they catch motorcyclists, and some of them have actually been beheaded. But that aside, the most important interview that I did, the most fascinating, revealing interview that I did down there, was at the Tienditas bridge crossing on the border with...
And this is where it gets interesting. Believe it or not, Last Great American Vagabond did a little segment on that, so I think I'll just play his little segment.
This one coming from RT, very important in regard to the story we've been covering over the last couple days, entitled Aid Trucks Carry Nails and Wire for Barricades, according to Venezuelan's foreign minister, and has photos and everything to show you. Now, this shouldn't be very surprising, as Russia has repeatedly come out and said this is about to happen, and then it ends up happening. And they just either ignore this from the Western media or pretend that Russia orchestrated the whole thing, and that's how they knew. Even though over and over and over we get examples of exactly the fact that this is U.S. foreign policy, as it's always been, on repeat, over and over, and Russia just sees what's going on and points it out. And in this case, they've been calling this a humanitarian aid show, which it very clearly is, as our last couple of shows have very clearly showed. But now even one step further, they look inside these trucks that their own people burned down on the Colombian side of the border, both of which the mainstream media is continuing to lie about. It turns out, guess what? They've got barricade material, wires and nails for the opposition. This is what they talk about when they say politicizing humanitarian aid, which is exactly why the United Nations and the Red Cross and numerous other organizations have refused to work with the United States in this. But as always, the mainstream media simply will not tell you that. You can look it up on Red Cross's website right now, but why they don't tell you is something you should ask yourself, as well as impersonating Red Cross during the whole thing to pretend like they're legitimate, on and on. But guess what? Now it turns out they had wires and nails and things inside of these. So addressing the UN Security Council, which just took place, Venezuelan Foreign Minister Jorge Arrezia said trucks supposedly carrying humanitarian supplies to Venezuela were loaded with nails and wire, and showing you the images that you could just see. And here's just a close-up shot of it, of what we're talking about. Now, of course, you know, could this image be fake? Of course. Could Russia be lying? Of course. But how many times are you going to continue to ignore, for those that are doing so, evidence being presented that could be fake versus the other side simply saying, that's not true. Here's what's the truth. Trust us, which is what this always comes down to. You can question whether one side is giving you the honest facts, but the evidence they're showing, but when the other side has nothing but just trust what I'm saying from career liars, there's a problem there, as I continue to point out, but people just do, because Russia bad guy, Venezuela bad guy, US good guy, and that's all. There's no logic involved, and this is what they're constantly trying to get you to do. But as always, I've shown you the evidence from the Russian side countless times turning out to be correct. It's about time we start listening. Now, the opposition-led and U.S.-backed operation to drive trucks with, quote, humanitarian aid, thank you for the super chat, talking about, yes, the Pakistan and India. Unfortunately, I pushed that story till tomorrow. I've been investigating that over the last couple of days while I've been fighting off my illness. But yes, the super chat on the screen, as you can see, is asking about that. We will be talking about that more tomorrow, which I'll touch on at the end, just because I know that's an important story, but I wanted to make sure and follow up on some of the stuff that I missed while I've been fighting off this illness. But definitely we will be covering that tomorrow, because that is a huge story, and it actually relates to a lot of other things going on, including Israel. But again, I'll touch on that at the end. But the fake humanitarian aid over the Colombia-Venezuelan border led to violent scuffles, which saw many police officers injured and several trucks set afire, which if you've been watching this channel, you're already aware of. Now, denouncing the botched delivery as a, quote, well-orchestrated operation to violate the territory of Venezuela, which I think we can all say very clearly was. Again, that saying that is a fact does not inherently mean I think Maduro's a good guy, or inherently mean that Venezuela doesn't have problems. Very different things. We can acknowledge that the U.S. is lying, cheating, stealing, and deceiving in this effort, and doesn't, without admitting that everything else is good on the other side. I would argue actually that it's much better than people think it is, but that's the point. Is you can say those two things and be in different topics and think both. Now, Arezia has been presenting this evidence in front of the United Nations, showing you exactly what actually happened, calling it a U.S.-led effort, a Trojan horse aimed at inciting a coup, which is very clear is what's happening. Now, Arezia said, showing the photos of what looked like piles of heavy wire lying on the ground, which you can see, quote, when the trucks were inspected, there was equipment for barricades. There were nails, wire, and so on and so forth, and this is what is used by the opposition in Venezuela. Big surprise. Now, Arezia said that Caracas also has video proof that can be viewed by all that is interested. Now, again, this is I'm assuming this is what we showed in yesterday's show, or day before yesterday. The proof of showing them throwing the Molotov cocktail and making Molotov cocktails. A pretty blatant proof. And understand that even with this information, the mainstream media still is telling you the other story and not showing you this. Not explaining why this doesn't show what we say it does. Just outright ignoring it, which is what they always do because they're trying to control your perception. Now, praising the Venezuelan army and police response to the attempt to smuggle the aid, he said, the foreign minister said that it was the latest chapter of the coup, which has failed. And I do agree with that. It is utterly failed, regardless of what side you're taking. They're failing and trying to cultivate the perception that they're succeeding with this effort, very aggressively trying to do so. Now, Arezia said that Caracas is willing to actually sit down with whatever representative the opposition sends to sit down with the constitutional government of Venezuela, Maduro's government. And they said even including self-proclaimed U.S.-backed interim president Juan Guaido himself, showing that they've been willing to talk from the very beginning, and it's the U.S. side that is aggressively trying not to. Now, Caracas can only hope that handlers in Washington, and this is coming from them, which I found very humorous, actually, that they can only hope that the handlers in Washington will give Guaido their authorization to resolve the crisis through dialogue and negotiations. You know, the president is supposed to be in charge, really showing you that it's just a U.S. puppet, as all of these things are, that they can't take action without checking with their puppet masters. Now, Arezia said Venezuela is open to mediation from Latin American countries, as well as from the EU, who has recently spoken out saying that they are completely against U.S. interventionism, in Venezuela specifically, and looks forward to talks without an agenda. Now, the United Nations Security Council meeting on Tuesday was used by the United States, as usual, as an opportunity to call for more sanctions against Caracas. You know, sanctions that will hurt the people, but they're apparently trying to help the people by hurting the people, as well as drum up support for its rhetoric of regime change, which is always its effort. Now, speaking at the meeting, the U.S. Special Envoy for Venezuela, Elliot Abrams, convicted war criminal who in the 1980s was also involved in shipping weapons to Nicaragua under the guise of humanitarian aid, which he's admitted to. He himself called on the United Nations Security Council member states, quote, to consider what resources and tools they have to contribute to Venezuelans' democracy, and, quote, pressure the Maduro regime to peacefully step down. Now, amid speculation that Venezuela's neighboring states, notably Colombia, can serve as a springboard for invasion, Russian United Nations Ambassador Vasily Nebenzia called on, quote, all states in the region, regardless of political affiliations, to reject threat and use of force. They actually said, quote, "Are you truly so naive," speaking to the United States, or Abrams specifically, "are you truly so naive? Do you really believe that you are immune to this, that you will not be next?" Or rather, speaking after Abrams, but to everybody else involved in Latin America, saying, "Are you really that naive to think that you won't be next in line on a U.S. regime change?" And he's right to say that. Historically, I believe at least that we can verify at least 56 different regime change and illegal coups in Latin America since the United States has been in power. I mean, think about that. And as you can see by most of these countries, it's left them in a worse state than they could be if left to their own devices. Now, the Russian diplomat said this, calling the proposed new sanctions an attempt to, quote, "bring Venezuela down to the state of destitution to trigger a humanitarian intervention." Very clearly what we've seen happen over and over. Now, Foreign Minister Jorge Arrezia said, or rather made a really excellent point during this meeting with the UN, one which all too often gets completely ignored in lieu of the current propaganda, regardless of how many times these past interventions have failed. The point being, all of them, if you care to do your research, have all failed. His point was a historical example. Back in 1965, in the Dominican Republic, which has been a victim of U.S. regime change more than once, after the U.S. forced its humanitarian aid convoy into the country in 1965, right after that, 8,000 Marines followed in right behind it and overthrew the government. This is a historical precedent that the U.S. has used this tactic before in countless occasions, and we're just supposed to forget. Or just, today is just different somehow. But this is how naive they want you to be. And sadly, if we go down another 10 years down the line and we can't successfully stop them, I can promise you that Venezuela will be the next Libya. And they'll be doing the same thing with a new country and saying, "Trust us, this time is different. We have to help the people. Yeah, we failed in the past, but this time is different." They said the same about Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, all of them. All of them. Now, on that same note, and as Russia has been shown to be correct, and as I said, almost every one of its predictions about U.S. policy in the past, it's important to know what they are now saying about U.S. interventionist buildups on the Venezuelan border. This article coming from The Mind Unleashed, as always, an excellent website that you should check out for yourself, as all of these, entitled "U.S. Moving Troops for Military Invasion of Venezuela, Moscow Warns." Now, I preface this with that statement because people just reflexively think that if Russia says it, it must be fake, which is really, really ridiculous and naive for people to think like that. They all lie, including the U.S., clearly the U.S., but the Moscow has been largely correct in regard to what it prophesizes about what the U.S. is trying to accomplish. Now, Russian Security Council Secretary Nikolai Patrushev, excuse me, probably hacking his name, told the media that the U.S. is deploying military assets to Puerto Rico and Colombia for a future military intervention in Venezuela to remove President Nicolas Maduro from power. Now, we can clearly see that this is what they're doing, right? But are they actually sending the troops? And I think it would again be naive of us to just reflexively say that's not happening. It's most likely happening because you can see that they've already said that the whole thing that they created on the 23rd and the 24th is now their justification for why intervention must happen. Right? They created the problem and then said, "Look at that problem. We need to go in and do something because of the problem we created." This is what they do every time. It's classic. But so now that troops are going there is very likely, I would say. He says, quote, "Showing sarcasm and arrogance towards the Venezuelan people, the United States is preparing a military invasion of an independent state." Now, according to his statements, Washington is transferring, quote, "American Special Operations Forces to Puerto Rico, the landing of the U.S. forces in Colombia," which, quote, "clearly indicates that the Pentagon is reinforcing the grouping of troops in the region." Now, this could be propaganda, as all these groups put out propaganda, but the reality is we've seen this happen before, and to think that the U.S. isn't already building up troops in preparation for something they're already saying is likely is just ridiculous. Clearly, they're doing this, and so I think we need to be ready to stand against something like this, because even the large portion of the U.S., vast in regard to just U.S. interventionism, do not want this, but a lot of Congress doesn't want this, most Venezuelans don't want this, so why is this happening if nobody wants this? That's a question we need to be asking ourselves.
Okay, moving on to another place. This is a place that, the United States and lots of other places are bombing the shit out of via Saudi Arabia and their proxies, which is Amalek. Here's more on this.
Switching gears here, donations coming into the UN to aid Yemen have been pouring in to the tune of about $2.6 billion in a special one-day conference about the humanitarian crisis there. Surprisingly, though, more than half of that amount came from the U.S., Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. Now, the Saudis and Emiratis, those are the very same people who put Yemen in the dire situation that they are in right now. The U.S., of course, being blamed for supplying weapons to Saudi and the UAE. So the United States is not blameless here either. So joining us now to break this all down, former Pentagon official Mike Maloof. All right, Mike. What gives here? Saudi Arabia and the UAE bomb the hell out of Yemen, take it to famine and cholera levels. Now they want to throw some money at it. I mean, the Saudis throw $500 million. The Emiratis throw $250 million at it. The U.S. over the course of some time now has thrown about $720 million at it. What gives here?
They're buying people off. There was supposed to have been a conference in Sweden to have a ceasefire. Nothing was agreed to. The war goes on. Saudis are continuing to bomb civilian areas in spite of showing this outward sign. And by the way, that money is only a commitment. They haven't paid anything. I mean, it's only a commitment.
That's a good footnote.
And we'll see if they pay up ultimately. They may not. But who's watching? Who's going to stop them? They have Donald Trump in their pocket, and the Saudis now feel that along with MBZ, the Mohammed bin Zayed, that they can do anything they want over there. But it's a proxy. It remains a proxy war against Iran, and that suits Trump's narrative as well.
I mean, is this supposed to help their image on the world stage?
They don't care.
Hey, we're throwing some money at
They
them?
don't care. They don't care. They have money. They'll buy anybody off. They've been proving that. They just bought off Pakistan. They just bought off China, or Saudi Arabia did.
The Saudis
yeah, the Saudis did. And all of a sudden you have the Pakistanis turning around and saying, "Okay, we're with you against Iran." They can be bought. Everybody can be bought in this
Everybody's got a
scenario.
price.
Well, yeah, it's relatively low.
And that's just it, though, is that for right now they can buy their way out of shit. But wait. You know, there is coming a day and an hour when the money's not going to be good enough, when the gold and silver would be useless, and you can't buy these people off. There's no way fucking Esau's going to get away with this for much longer. In 1 hour, this place, America, Babylon the Great, will be destroyed, and we hasten that day. So, along with Yemen being completely destroyed, you know, here's another place, because they've been trying to oust, Bashar al-Assad for a very long time, but they can't fucking do it. But they've destroyed Syria, and eventually want to turn Damascus into a ruinous heap, just like they're doing in Yemen now.
According to a report by Reuters, the European Union remains divided over how to deal with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad and his emerging victory following 8 years of civil war. Reuters reports the EU has repeatedly made its reconstruction support conditional on a UN-led peace process to end a war that has claimed hundreds of thousands of lives and displaced roughly half of Syria's population. One senior EU diplomat reportedly said, "The pressure on us to rebuild Syria is increasing, particularly from the Russians."
And that's just it, though. Magog being a guard thou unto them. And like everything else there, we know that there's no national emergency, but the real national emergency isn't so much about a wall, but they use that to justify their means, Of course, we know that, they plan on using FEMA to lock people down and to get this charagma going. And so here's another thing, these are some things that'll be on your TV, to keep people distracted from the other big things going on. Big old dog and pony show, keep people docile in a docile state. But here's, House bill that's being pushed to reject the border wall emergency.
According to a report by Reuters, on Tuesday, the U.S. House of Representatives moved toward a passage of legislation that would reject President Donald Trump's proclaimed national emergency at the U.S.-Mexico border. The House reportedly agreed to move to final debate and a vote later on Tuesday on passing the resolution, which would set up a vote in the Senate where it is expected to face slimmer chances. Reuters reports that a coalition of 16 U.S. states led by California has already sued Trump, as well as top members of his administration, in an attempt to block his emergency declaration.
And like everything else, though, pretty much, a house divided can't stand, and we can see, though, that, well, that's what it is, divide and conquer. So that way they get what they want, their New World Order, which actually the Most High himself, wants Esau to do this. So the Most High has a program, because eventually this man is no longer going to be in power. But his lust for power is what's going to be his end-all. Well, here's another thing, because it said that we would eat defiled foods, and so here's another one. Of course, we're not supposed to eat pork, so we know that that's already defiled, but, here's more. And this is from Dabu 7. Both next two are from Dabu 7.
Another massive recall here. Bellisio Foods, which is a Jackson, Ohio establishment, is recalling approximately 173,000 pounds of frozen pork entree products that they say could be contaminated with materials such as pieces of glass or hard plastic. Now, the U.S. Food Safety and Inspection Services has stumbled upon all this after getting reports from people saying that they were finding this stuff in the food. They tore into it and they've discovered that the frozen, not ready to eat, NRTE, it stands for not ready to eat, boneless pork rib patties were produced on various dates between December 7th of 2018 and February 15th of 2019. This affects these 14-ounce black cardboard box packages containing Boston Market, as the name here, as his home-style meals, boneless pork rib-shaped patty with barbecue sauce and mashed potatoes, with the Best Buy dates of 12/7/2019, with a lock code of 8341, and then the dates of January 4th, 2020, lock code 9004, January 24th, 2020, lock code 9024, February 15th, 2020, lock code 9046. Now, the products subject to recall bear establishment number 18297 on the end of the carton. I'm going to rewind this, write that down, or check out the link below. This was shipped to a Department of Defense facility in Tucson, Arizona, and to retail locations nationwide. So just another heads up here on this. I'm going to leave a link below. Make sure to follow me on Twitter for more.
And, of course, that's not the only thing coming up. No, we got more happening with alcohol, if you enjoy a good drink every now and then.
Out there that may enjoy wine or a beer every now and then, and if you're consuming this on a daily basis, you may want to really look at what could be in these products, including some of the ones listed here that they're talking about in this article as they go through 15 top beer brands that are connected to this. They have different levels, and they're saying that the glyphosate that is found is in the healthy range per what they say out there with the EPA and others, and what's allowed to be in food and in beverages. But just the fact that it's being found there is disturbing to most. Others say the fact that they've put a standard on it is crazy as well. It's like saying it's okay. Oh, it's okay. We'll let it go by with X amount. Just like they allow certain parts of bugs and everything else to pass and enter food. Like we talked about with the canned food a couple weeks ago, where a lady was sitting there picking bug parts out of the food. In this instance, though, they're saying that the glyphosate was found in all but one of the ones they tested. They looked at 5 wine brands, 1 cider, and 15 top beer brands, including Coors Light, Miller Lite, Budweiser, Corona, Heineken, Guinness, and a bunch of others. And they found the glyphosate in all but one. They're saying that this Centeo was found to be the worst beer for glyphosate with 49.7 parts per billion. And of the 5 wines, Sutter Home Merlot is the highest level glyphosate with 51.4 PPB. So, for what it's worth, I think it's worth noting that this stuff is popping up all over the place. It's a health concern in my book. Wanted to pass this information along and let it be known. This is what's going on now. Now, also, you have to remember a judge ruled that the glyphosate gave a guy cancer here just this last year, and there's another case that just started this week, and then there's like 9,000 other cases waiting as well. Make sure to follow me on Twitter for more. It's been Dabu7. Peace.
So, one more thing, InfoWars coming after us. Well, that's another thing that's in Matthew 24 that we just read earlier, that you should be hated of all nations for my name's sake. So I'm just going to play these last little bit of videos, about this, because, of course, InfoWars and Alex Jones, are pretty much attacking us. Because Alex Jones was always a controlled opposition, He didn't oppose nothing because he pushed Donald Trump our way. Same thing with Chris Green and all them others, This whole thing's been nothing more than a bread and circus. But you see, that's just it, keeping people in docile, thinking that they had a chance to resist this takeover. But let's face it, that this takeover, this new world order that's come as part of Yahweh and Yahushai's plan for Yahushai to return, because Yahushai is coming back. He's going to destroy the wicked and the two-thirds, which are even more wicked, because here it is, we've been going out there and teaching, and they still reject it.
Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to the elect scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. My name is Amuan Gabar, back with another lesson. Lord willing to edify and to feed the lambs of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai through the Holy Spirit, Rakakwadash. Alright, now, this video right here that you see on the screen, was uploaded the 24th, 2 days ago, entitled Black Racists Call for Genocide of White, which this is a group, relating to Alex Jones, InfoWars. Their YouTube page is Liberty Hangout. Alright? And they did a video. They approached these brothers here, this group. I'm not sure which group that is, but they preach in Israel, for that matter. But pretty much this white devil right here, matter of fact, Salakia, let me call her who she is. This red Edomite, red Hebrew Edomite devil right here, alright? Trying to play the victim, as always, trying to demonize the men of the Lord, alright? The Hebrew Israelites as a whole, trying to make it seem as though, the Hebrew Israelites are this racist, extremist, we're going to kill you type of cult, alright? And then you got the so-called white, or excuse me, I got to get rid of this white thing, alright? Because there's nothing white about this devil right here, alright? She's pale, she's red, alright? Her blood shows forth through her skin, but she's playing the victim, trying to demonize, the Israelites, alright? Trying to pretty much, I'm going to play the video and I'm a commentary, but this is what Esau does, man. This is what the devil does. And she's an Edomite. Alright? This is an Edomite. This is a red Hebrew Edomite. Alright, we're going to call them who they are. Brothers coined them the red Hebrew Edomite, which that's what they are according to the Bible. And that's what we're going to call them. The red Hebrew Edomites. Alright? And this is none other than the she-devil doing her she-devil tactics, man. Alright, I'm going to play the video and I'm going to stop it in between and commentary on it, man. Because, hey, you devils, man. You got a lot to pay for. You got a lot to pay for. And your kingdom is going down. That's why you coming so hard, or trying to come so hard at the Hebrew Israelites. Your kingdom is going down. And there's nothing you could do about it. Alright? So I'm going to play the video.
Is this the group that was at the Covington Catholic controversy telling the white kids there that their intestines should be strewn all over the ground? Is this the same group?
We are not the same group, but we all teach and use the Bible to back up what we're saying. So they use the Bible, we use the Bible. You see what I'm saying? So we scattered to the four corners of the earth teaching the word of God according to the Bible. You see what I'm saying? That's what we're teaching. So the truth is, give me a scripture. Go back to Isaiah 8.
So they were also black Hebrew Israelites. Were they not the same group?
Can I say this? It's not black Hebrew Israelite. We are Hebrew Israelites.
Okay. Was that not the same group involved in that Covington case at the Washington, D.C. memorial? Was that not the same group?
we're not the same group, but we know them. And we are feeling.
Will you disavow the things that they said to those white kids?
What things are you talking about? Disavow what?
They said that they were incest, they were cousin, they're going to hell. They said that their intestines should be strewn across the floor. Can you disavow those statements?
Give me Isaiah 14:21.
Will you just?
And this, she's gonna go on a whole rant asking, pretty much begging these brothers right here to disavow the statements that was made at that Covington, Native Indian rally. All right, and I don't know what was said. All right, I don't know what was said, so I'm not gonna say, what that camp said, what that group said. I don't know what was said. For all we know, she could be making that up. If they said it, if they didn't say it, that's either here nor there. But guess what? All right, the violence is gonna happen to you Edomites, man, according to the Bible. All right, now she's trying to get these brothers to pretty much disavow, all right, what was said over there. They don't have to disavow anything. All right, and disavow means to deny responsibility for something. All right, it means exactly that, to deny responsibility for something. All right, but according to the Bible, that does not have to be disavowed because it's written in the scriptures that judgment is going to come upon Edom. All right, in so many words. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 137, verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom. All right, because she's a child of Edom right here. According to the Bible, this red lady right here is a child of Edom. So it says, remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, all right, which mean all the Edomites. All right, in the day of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is talking about the Israelites. All right, Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. All right, so remember the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem who said, race it, even to the foundation thereof. Race it means to destroy, okay, to destroy something. Destroy it to the foundation. Esau, Edom, said unto Jerusalem, all right, to destroy it, destroy it. The Edomites destroyed us as a nation, as a people. All right, who brought us over here into captivity? The so-called white man. It's because of Esau we forgot who our identity, we forgot who we are as a people. All right, but through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, we're remembering ourselves. Okay, so it says, O daughter of Babylon. All right, the daughter of Babylon represents America. All right, who's the ruler of America? The Edomites. It says, who are to be destroyed. O daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed. All right, because the daughter of Babylon, you are going to be destroyed. You Edomites are going to be destroyed. And here's what the scriptures say. Happy shall he be. All right, that he. Who's that he? Happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. All right. Now this is the book of Psalm 137. If I'm correct, this is King David. All right. If not, it's an Israelite that one of the psalmists that made this. All right, that made this song. All right, that sang this song. All right, that's why it says us, and it's talking about all of Israel. So happy shall he be, the Israelite, that rewardeth thee, who? Edom, as thou hast served us. How did the Edomites serve us? Rape, robbery, murder, bloodshed. Okay, they separate us. They separated us from one plantation to the next. All right, they spilt our intestines. Okay, throughout on the floor. They used to hang a pregnant woman upside down, chop her stomach open. Okay, they used to tie one slave to another, to a horse. One leg here, one leg there, arm there, and used to beat the horses to make them split. All right, to split that man, or woman or child. All right, these are the things Esau did. And last night I was watching this video. Before I went to bed, I was on my smartphone laying in bed, and I was reading on some of the things that devil Christopher Columbus did unto our people when he came over here, man. All right, and are you gonna disavow that? Yes, you are. All right, because you're denying the responsibility of your forefather. All right, so you cannot disavow what your people have done to our people. So it says, happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. All right, happy shall he be, the Israelite man, that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. So the Israelite man is going to be happy when the Lord give us the power, all right, to take a little Edomite baby and dash them against the stones. All right, and if we waiting on the Lord, we're not gonna step out of line, all right, and do anything to you Edomites until the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, the Lord sends His Son, all right, to destroy this place, man. All right, when the Lord gives us spiritual powers, forget about it. All right, we're not stepping out of the Bible. We're not stepping out of line. We're not stepping out of character. And that's what the devil wants you to do. They want you to use your own words, all right, to demonize you. But everything is coming out the scriptures. All right, you damn she-devil. I'm going to play the rest of the video.
Disavow. Will you disavow that they told those teenage kids that their intestines should be strewn across the floor?
We'll see what God got to say, okay?
Will you disavow it as someone that knows them?
We represent God. We know them, they represent God. So we're going to read to you what God got to say, okay?
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 21. Prepare slaughter for his children.
God said prepare slaughter for his children, meaning the Caucasian race. Prepare slaughter for their children. Go ahead.
For the iniquity of their fathers.
For what your forefathers did during the time of...
So you won't disavow it? You think it's okay to say that to teenagers?
That they do not rise.
And first of all, they set the woman to do a man's job, man. You women ain't got nothing to say, because you're all... what fuels you is your emotions, man. You got nothing to say. All right, you Edomite women, just shut up. You got nothing to say. All right, next time InfoWars send a man, all right, a red Hebrew Edomite man to come and deal with the Israelite men. All right, the Hebrew Israelite men. All right, because you women, you got nothing to say. All right, because you're all emotional. Okay, will you disavow? You know that, listen, be quiet, man.
Nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities.
Now give me Luke.
I'm going to take that as a yes. You guys think it's okay to say that. I just want to...
And that's the devil putting words in people's mouth. They didn't say anything. They didn't answer the question with a yes or no. They answering with scriptures. But here's the devil. I'm going to take it as a yes.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
That's the devil.
Yes or no? Do you think it's okay to treat them like that? Yes or no?
Look at that sign down there.
I'm going to take that as a no. I'm going to take that as a no. I'm going to take that as a no. That's gross. You won't disavow the people. Can you disavow it?
Listen. Was not the black people during the time of slavery, was not their children used for alligator bait? Was not their children fingers cut off?
I am asking.
That's a yes or no question. And the answer is yes. All right, the Israelite children were used as alligator bait, but she's disavowing what her forefathers did. But the scripture was just read in Isaiah 14 and 21, which I got that too. Isaiah 14 and 21. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers. All right, her forefather, all right, perpetrated iniquity unto the children of Israel. Fed our children alligators, all right, to reel those alligators in with a pickaxe after they chomped on our children. Her forefathers did all that, man. So scripture say, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land nor fill the faces of world with cities. All right, so the Most High is gonna have the Israelites possess you Edomites. All right, why? Because you're nothing but wicked. All right, you're wicked. You're cruel. You're vile. Everything. You're the scum of the earth. All right, and the Most High is gonna have the Israelites, all right, put you in chains and shackles, and that's point blank. Period.
If it's okay that someone that's in your organization told these teenagers, well, I will answer your question. Is this toxic masculinity?
No, we showing you that
oh, I'm not a feminist.
You guys did it to our children.
I didn't do anything to you. I didn't do anything to you. Will you disavow treating young children like that in public?
Go around. So the only thing the brother was saying, the same way you guys did our children.
I didn't do anything to your children. No.
There she go trying to disavow what her forefathers did to us. Which she is her forefathers coming back.
How do you know where I'm from?
You're Caucasian. You're white. Yes, you are.
How do you know that?
We're looking at you.
How do you know my ancestors did anything to anybody?
What's your nationality then?
So now you're going to ask because you don't know.
We already know. We already know. What's your nationality?
What did your ancestors do?
We came on the station.
My first language is Spanish. I'm not white. Don't assume people's ethnicity just because what they're looking like.
So, okay, well, I'm going to give you one more chance. I'm going to give you guys one more chance. Will you disavow those comments where they said those white kids deserve to have their intestines strewn? Will you disavow that?
This is your answer. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword.
Will you? So you think that's okay if they're white?
Must be killed.
Is that okay?
God said you guys.
And you're not white. You're red. All right. You're the biblical Edomites that the Bible speak of. You're not white. Stop calling yourself white. All right. This is the book of Obadiah 1 and 12. Matter of fact, Salak, I start at 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Alright, Esau, Edom, have committed violence against the children of Israel. Alright, and according to the scriptures, according to the Bible, Esau, shame is going to cover you, and you're going to be cut off forever by the way of slaughter. Verse 11 says, in the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that strangers carried away captives his force, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was as one of them. Alright? Now this is talking about our captivity. Alright? Esau, you had a major part to do with our captivity. Alright? You casted lots upon the children of Israel. Meaning you sold us on auctioning blocks, alright, to one plantation to the next. That's the work of you Edomites, and you cannot disavow that. Alright, it says, but thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. Alright? Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Now Esau want to say, you know, that was in the past, forgive and forget, and just disavow our slavery, you know, like they had nothing to do with it. All you Edomites got to pay for that. Alright, and you're mad because the truth is coming out and true justice is actually speaking. That's why you Edomites have a problem with the Hebrew Israelites, because true justice is speaking. It says, thou shouldest not have entered into the gates of thy people, into my people, excuse me, in the day of their calamity. Yet thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on his substance in the day of their calamity. But Esau did all of that. Alright, in the lowest point of our history, Esau forwarded our affliction. It says, neither shouldest thou have stood in a crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. Alright, now Esau did what? When Israelites were escaping persecution, Esau was there to capture Israelites and put them back into slavery. It says, for the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathens. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. Now listen, we're only speaking right now. Alright, we're speaking, and Esau has a problem with us speaking. Alright, why do they have a problem with us speaking? Because they know it's the truth, and it's bothering them. Alright, they know it's the truth and it's bothering them. That's why they have a problem with us speaking what we're saying according to the Bible. When in all actuality, the things that we're saying is payback. Alright, in all actuality, you Edomites have actually done the things that we're saying according to the Bible is going to happen to you. Alright, but you forgot about that, right? You disavowing that. You can't disavow that because the Most High is not going to forget. Galatians 6 and 7. Be not deceived, the Most High God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Alright, so you reap what you sow. Alright, Esau, Edom, the so-called red man, alright, the red man, have not reaped what he's sown. Alright, this prophecy have not happened yet. Alright, you Edomites got to reap what you have sown. Alright, you know your time is coming.
Must be killed with the sword.
So you're saying the white people must be killed with a sword?
This is the King James 611 Bible. That's what
You guys think anything's wrong with that? Murder? Is that okay? No, slavery is not okay. It was never okay. But why would you combat?
Slavery is not okay. It was never okay. But they go that but why would you? No, listen. You got to pay for slavery. You got to pay for it. All right, you got to pay for it. Because all Edomites are trying to disavow what happened to the children of Israel. All right, she's one of them. All right, she's the biggest racist. Okay.
At it with the same. So you're gonna do that to white people?
The Bible, this is the word of God. God says you are going to be killed.
You're saying these horrible things that are making.
This was written before slavery, so you can't even interpret that to slavery. This was written way before slavery.
And this dildo head said that scripture was written way before slavery. That's why it's called a prophecy, you dildo head. A prophecy, something that's written before its time. Pro means before. Phasai means to say. When you prophesy, you say something before it happened. The Bible is a book of prophecies. So of course it's going to be written before it happened. This is the IQ of Esau.
This is so ridiculous.
Does it not
not say? Read Revelation 13 verse 9 again. They're hard of hearing. People obviously don't have ears. Okay, but we're going to read it.
Sir.
Anyway,
Sir.
for the people that do have ears.
Sir.
He that leadeth into
So wait, let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. Does he deserve to die because he's white? Does he deserve to die? Guys, does he deserve to die? Does he deserve to die? Does he deserve to die?
God said it.
Does he deserve to die?
God said yes.
So what are you guys doing out here? You're preaching the word, but you don't have the balls to do it yourself?
No, see, that's what the devil's trying to do. All right, Esau, the devil, wants the Hebrew Israelites to go and attack off their own impulse. But no, we're waiting on the Lord. We're waiting on the Lord. All right, now, hey, my advice to you Hebrew Israelites out there, you better wait on Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Don't step out of line and try to do nothing yourself. Which you might have agents set up to try to be agent provocateurs and try to cause Israel to do certain things carnally against Esau. All right, before the Most High gives us the go ahead, which that may happen that way. But I'm just showing you brothers what the devil's trying to do, trying to make these brothers seem like, that they don't have the balls to try to, spill and test Edomite intestines out in the street. No, we're not gonna do that until Yahweh Hashem Yahushua give us the go ahead, man. And that's just that. All right, according to the Bible, it's gonna happen. All right, it's just not time. All right, it's just not time. According to the Bible, everything we say is according to the Bible. All right, this is the book of Nahum, chapter 1, verse 3. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. All right, the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is slow to anger. All right, just because what Esau have done in his past, all right, and is doing to this day, all right, because he have not been judged for it. Because these devils have came, they've lived, and they've died, went back on into the spirit world, all right, does not mean that the Most High forgot about them. Does not mean he acquitted their wickedness. All right, it just means that the Lord is slow to anger. He's building your tab, all right? Your track record is being built, and you're going to have generations upon generations of judgment to deal with. It says, the Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. The Lord hath his way in a whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. All right, so the Most High did not forget you Edomites and what you have done to his chosen.
The balls to do it yourself.
Right. During the slave trade, read, must be killed with the sword.
All right, guys, so what we have here is a bunch of black people
And here goes the emotional devil going to her emotional rant.
saying that white people deserve to die. White people, absolutely.
That's exactly what's being said.
How is that not racist?
It is racist.
So you're admitting it.
Yeah, it's racist. It's not a secret.
Okay.
The Most High is racist.
It's not okay to say people deserve to die.
It's not okay to say that people deserve to die, but it was okay for she-devils like this to accuse Israelite men of, for whistling at them and causing death to fall upon them, such as Emmett Till. That was okay, right? That was okay.
So, no, I can deal with whoever I want to. You guys are advocating for murder of a certain race. That's disgusting. You're saying I deserve to die. Oh my God, this is why we should have guns. Holy shit.
And you hear her? This is why we should have guns. Hey, that's the devil for you. The truth is coming out. That's why they should have guns. This is what she said. Out of Esau's mouth, all right, the she-devil, all right, the Shedemite, the Edomite, okay? This is what she said. This is why we should have guns. For what? Ain't nobody attacking you. Brother's just reading the Bible. All right, but why do you need a gun? Why? Because if you had it your way, you would kill them guys, man. If these devils had it their way, they would kill every single Israelite in sight. All right, this is why we should have guns. That came out of her mouth.
21 again. No. Prepare slaughter for his children. You are the children of your forefathers that put in a lot of work to do this to the soul.
So I deserve to die because I'm white. So I deserve to die.
You're not white. You're red. You're an Edomite.
Do I deserve to die?
Read from the top again.
Do I deserve to die? Do I? I deserve to die. All right.
God said, prepare your people.
I think you guys are a bunch of. That's what you are.
And she had to.
These
She had to go to name callings now. Hey, listen, the Edomite devil ain't got it in her, man. They should have just sent them in. And he would have got toasted anyway. Alright, with the word of the Lord.
Stand behind a microphone. You guys are going to do by yourselves. Alright, yeah, alright. This is some toxic masculinity. Look how, do you think these men are very manly, saying that white people deserve to die?
No. I've watched your videos before, so.
Do you agree with them that white people deserve to die?
No, not at all.
How crazy is that? So we can recognize that slavery is wrong, but that doesn't mean that we should be advocating to murder people based on their skin color, correct?
So my question is, alright, Esau, my question to you, Esau, is what should happen? What should be the payback? What should be the retribution? What should be the result? What should be the justice for slavery here in America? Alright, millions upon millions of Israelites, alright, being put to death, alright, committing suicide because of your wretchedness, alright? What should happen because of that? What should happen because of that? That's my question. Alright, I want to hear an Edomite answer, alright, because I know the answer according to the Bible. Revelation 13:9 and 10. Alright, I know the answer to that, man. We know the answer to that. Us brothers in the know, we know the answer to that. You know? This is Job 4:7. Remember, I pray thee, whoever perish being innocent, or where were the righteous cut off? Even as I have seen, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness reap the same. Alright, you plow wickedness and iniquity, you're going to reap wickedness and iniquity. Point blank, period. Alright, let me get Revelation 13. 9 and 10. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. Alright? The scriptures say if you got ears to hear, listen to this. If you lead a nation into captivity, you're going to go into captivity. If you kill a nation with a sword, you're going to be killed with the sword. Alright? And then it goes on to say, here's the patience and the faith of the saints. Because the Most High is going to be our judge. The Most High is going to be the one to execute judgment, alright, upon the wicked. Who are you Edomites?
Yeah, of course.
And you Edomites are mad at that, man.
To die because I'm white.
No.
That's what they're preaching.
White makes you beautiful. You're beautiful.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
okay.
much. I appreciate that. That's
He
what
obviously
you're-
ain't getting any.
They're quoting the Bible, saying that this is what Jesus wants.
I don't believe that at all. Yeah.
Well, obviously the Bible. I mean, if you study the Bible, I mean, Jesus says for us to love our neighbors, and
Well,
you know,
Jesus said to love our neighbor. Well, guess what? You didn't do that. You didn't do that, Esau. Alright? You didn't do that. See, Esau's a hypocrite, man. Esau's a hypocrite, man. Romans 13 and 10. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Ill is something bad. Alright? Love does not do bad to his neighbor. So you can understand. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law. Alright? So Esau, the she-devil said, I think we should love everybody, or let me play that back.
the Bible. I mean, if you study the Bible, I mean, Jesus says for us to love our neighbors, and
Well, you devils broke that commandment.
you know, to really live by the golden rule, to love Him and love our neighbors. So
Now it's all about love. Hey, Esau's kingdom is going down. Now all of a sudden it's all about love. Ain't that amazing? Esau's kingdom is crumbling to the ground. The truth is coming out. Esau's being exposed. They wish they could have their way with us like they did in the 50s and 40s and 30s and 20s and in the 1800s, 1700s. Since the beginning of slavery, they wish they could have their way with us, but they can't. So the only thing they could do is try to use reverse racism and try to say that we're racist. All right, they're trying to use that reverse psychology. All right, talking about love. Now it's all about love. Now it's all about love all of a sudden. These devils wasn't talking about love back in the day.
As another man here, what do you think of seeing these grown men telling a woman like myself that I deserve to die because I'm white?
Using women. Whatever, man. I'm gonna wrap this lesson up soon, anyways.
I think they're got the devil in them. That's what I think. They're holding a picture right now of Christ with devil horns. I don't know if you saw that.
can't be very wrongly.
Yeah. The love of Christ would never do this. He loves his people.
He would never tell you to die. He would love you to him, not to say, you know, that you're going to die and go into slavery, because he freed us from our sins. So Jesus Christ.
So wait a minute. Esau think that the Lord dying on the cross freed them from their sins of their forefathers. No, it don't work like that. Yeah, that's the funniest thing I heard all day. It don't work like that, lady. All right, you cannot disavow what your forefathers have done. I already read the scriptures, man. All right, they that plow iniquity and sow wickedness shall reap the same. The Most High is not mocked. Galatians 6 and 7. There's no escaping your judgment. There's no escaping your judgment. That Caesar Borgia image got you Edomites messed up, man. Yo, Esau used to preach his plantation Christianity doctrine upon the children of Israel that they started believing that themselves. And now these nut jobs, they believe that Jesus was all about love, which Jesus is whomever he may be, but we worship Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. Now they think that the Heavenly Father and his Son is all about love. Well, guess what? The Lord don't love you. The Lord does not love you Edomites.
Then you're going to be saved. You're not going to die like that.
One last question. Since they just told me to my face that I deserve to die because I'm white, do you think this is a very good argument why people should carry a firearm to defend themselves? Yes.
I think everyone has a constitutional right to carry a firearm. I think it's wrong and against the Constitution to have laws like we have in California.
I love it. Great.
So white people or red people, Edomite people should carry guns because you got Israelites preaching on a street corner reading the Bible. This is what Esau want. You see this? Hey, brothers, this is what Esau want. They want to shoot you. They want to kill you. They want you dead. All right, she's advocating for guns because of Hebrew Israelites. Now, if guns was legal in L.A. here, if it was, I'm sure she'd have had a pistol waving around. You know? Hey, this goes to show you that Esau's blessing was the sword. Matter of fact, let's get that. All right, let's get that real quick, man. Let's get that real quick. All right, in the book of Genesis. I believe it's 27. Genesis. Yep, 27 and 40. I start at 39. Matter of fact, I start at 38. This is Genesis 27 and 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also. O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. This is when Esau lost his birthright. Jacob was blessed with the birthright, and Esau was rejected. And Isaac his father answered and said to him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of the heavens above. All right, that's why Edomites are living lusciously in his kingdom, because that's their blessing. And there's a reason why they're able to live fat, because they acquired that fatness of the earth by their ultimate blessing. By, it says verse 40, and by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. So Esau, by his sword he shall live, and she's all about living by the sword. All right, she's all about that advocating for guns, showing you that she's an Edomite, a red Hebrew Edomite. It says, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated his brother because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning of my father is at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. It's all about, hey, that's why Esau and Jacob is constant beef against so-called blacks and whites, against so-called Latinos and whites, against so-called Native American and whites, which we're all the same people, the so-called black Latinos and Native Americans. And we're all against you Edomites. All right, because it goes back. All right?
For the sins of your forefathers, you damn cave dweller, you damn wicked-ass demonic people. God said to prepare your butts for slaughter today for the crimes of your forefathers. What the hell is wrong with you, man? Read on, Al. Read on.
You guys are the biggest I've ever seen in my life. Holy sh**. No, you don't have the balls to carry it out by yourself. You want to hide behind the word of God.
You're damn right.
Women that are white, they deserve to die. Biggest I've ever seen. Holy sh**. Remember,
Look at this she devil.
supported.
I didn't want to see this devil. But anyway, man, That's what Esau does. Esau wants you to step out of line and get out of character, so he got a reason to throw you in the tombs, kill you, and make you a public example. All right? The scriptures say, wait upon the Lord, man. All right? Wait upon the Lord. All right? Zephaniah 3:8. Therefore, wait ye upon me, saith the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. Who's the prey? Esau, you're the prey. All right? You Edomites are the prey. And we're waiting on Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, man. All right, to give us that power. It says, for my determination is to gather the nations, all right, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured by the fire of my jealousy. And that's what the Lord is about. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is very jealous at the wickedness that's been going on, the worshiping of other gods, especially, you know, from us Israelites, all right, Israel as a whole, all right. The Most High is very angry, you know, with his people. All right, and ultimately he's angry with the wicked, which are you Edomites and other nations, and he's going to bring judgment upon his place, man. You know, so anyway, I'm going to end it there. I seen this video like 2 days ago. You know, through the Spirit of the Lord, I got a chance to actually, you know, commentate on it, and I pray and hope to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua that this was an edifying lesson to the elect of the nation of Israel. So with that, I want to say shalom to you brothers out there. Till next time.
Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so even more, now more so than ever. To the confusion of faith brothers joined unto our ranks, the hopefully elect, you know, the Akwat that are listening and learning, to them I say shalom. Once again, double honors unto the apostles and the elders who are worthy of double honors. And Salakia got hiccups. And this is a response to the video from the brother from GMS Vegas sit downs, GMS Las Vegas. He did a response to that Shedomite devil, Caitlin Bennett. And this is a response to that video, and to a response of all the red Hebrew Edomites that are out there that refuse to acknowledge true history and then try to build their case based upon a lie and based upon false social constructs, which is the social construct of black and white. You know, that is a false social construct that they created, and then they try to base their arguments based upon this falsehood. All right, and it's because it's not about black or white. It's about seed lines. All right, and it's about the Hebrew Israelites who were primarily a dark race of people from different shades of brown. All right, plus their scattered confusion of faith brethren that are mixed in with all the nations. So an Israelite can come looking like a red Hebrew Edomite. All right, and then the actual red Hebrew Edomites. That's what this is about. And them not acknowledging what they've done. See, the problem is that the red Hebrew Edomite does not acknowledge anyone's humanity except their own. So it doesn't matter that the video is playing with all the evidence of them murdering and shooting and killing their police officers, murdering and shooting and killing, with them over and over again being mass murderers, shooting 50 or more people, 30 people, 77 children in Sweden a couple years back. It doesn't matter how much evidence. They're never there. You have to understand, the media is designed to uplift the Edomite. The Edomite male can never be looked at as the threat, which is why John Lemon got in so much trouble when he said the problem in America was the white male. All right, well, we're here to tell you that they're not white, they're red. They are the red Hebrew Edomites, and it is time that the world acknowledge them as such, and that they cannot hide from their heritage anymore. And that is the problem. Their heritage their true heritage has been exposed, and they do not like it. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. And Salaki, and I'm going to start at verse 3. It said, "Let no man deceive you by any means, For that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, that the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, and that's the man of destruction. Who's destroyed the earth? Who destroyed the ozone above the earth, the atmosphere above the earth? Who's destroyed the seas? Ever since Esau, Edom has come into power this second time around, he has destroyed the earth with his industrial age, with pollution and chemicals. All right? Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, that is, or that is worshipped, so that he sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. So he sits and has acted as if he is the people of the Lord, and he is not. They are Edomite, the base people, who hijacked their brother Jacob's nationality and called themselves saints and Christians. All right? And Edomites are a complete opposition of the Holy Scriptures and the Bible. All right? Which is what the brothers were reading at the incident that happened at in DC. What just happened here? All right? Didn't want to start there yet, but without any further ado, let's let this portion of Cootie Merrill's video play. Yes, that was the spirit.
So when it comes to the Middle East, I have something else I can look at. And you may disagree with it, but it's important. If you disagree with the Bible, that's fine, whatever. But you have to understand the role it played in history and why this matters. We are connected to Israel. We are wound in so deeply to Israel, and most people don't even know it. The Bible and our own history shows us how, and I'm going to show you just a couple of things tonight. And this is a history that I'm teaching to my own family because too many people no longer care about our history, no longer care about the history of, God. They don't care, and they're trying to change our history to fit an agenda.
And that's his people who's done that.
From the book Anacalypsis, an attempt to draw aside the veil of the Sadic ISIS, or an inquiry into the origin of languages, nations, and religions, by the late Godfrey Higgins, Esquire. Volume 2, 1836. It is necessary...
And just to add, while you're reading this is on the screen. You could always freeze frame this and read it. You could pause it and read it, which is why I'm leaving it on the screen for so long. But Godfrey Higgins also wrote that the original inhabitants of Britain, Scotland, and Ireland, this same scholar, same set scholar, were so-called black people. He wrote that. So did Lord Kingsborough. And he's saying the same thing about the Mexicans here, the Mexica. They were dark with beards. Okay? Until and what happened was the repeated rape and mixture with Esau, Edom, which is what basically changed what they look like, and the fact that it came out of the Assyrian captivity, and that they were separated from the southern kingdom for almost 2,000 years. It's about 1,700 years at minimum that they were separated. All right, ever since Jeroboam and Rehoboam. All right, and they weren't reunited until the transatlantic slave trade, when they were often put on ships together at the same time and shipped all over the world. It's damn hiccups.
To observe here that tribes, both of Negroes and bearded men, were found in South America. Again, it is necessary to observe here that tribes, both of Negroes and bearded men, were found in South America. And again, we're always going to go back to foundational truth.
And see, that's the reason why I played this and showed this. And I highly suggest that you watch this video. It's part 6. And Hebrew Aboriginals of America, languages, traditions, ceremonies, and the lost lunar stones. All right, but what it proves, what this information proves beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the so-called white man knows very well that Latinos and Native Americans, so-called, are also Israelites. But yet, InfoWars and every other minor media and mass media are intent on saying black, black, black. As a matter of fact, the incident that happened at the Washington Monument, the lead speaker, the head of it, is a so-called Puerto Rican, but he was still being referred to as black. And that's that social construct to keep that division. All right. So also in their attempt to keep the tribes separated. Okay. That's what that was all about. All right. So without any further ado, let's let this video play.
God said to prepare your bucks for slaughter today.
Does he deserve to die?
God said yes.
Can you tell me like what this is?
You got a question?
Yeah, can you just like explain, I guess, what you're doing or what your group represents?
Now, mind you, she already knew what was going on. And they know what we represent. They already know. They've done studies. And they also know that Latinos and Native Americans, and now they also are aware of the confusion of face, which my personal belief is that's why they're so into DNA and trying to get everyone's DNA. They're trying to figure out who among the other people are actual Israelites. I truly believe that. I can't prove it, but that's just something that I believe.
Okay, according to the Bible, black people, Hispanic people, Native American Indians, we are the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel, according to biblical history, world history, and archaeology, so on and so forth, man.
Right, so he gave her everything she needed to hear and needed to know. But she's still going to go a few seconds from now and say black Hebrew Israelites, which is a slander and pushing of a false construct. And now, and then at the end of the video, she plays the victim. She literally tries to incite the mob that is gathering around to violence against them. This devil. There's no doubt in my mind that she was in the rebirth. That she was one of those little girls that was sitting on her daddy's shoulders at one of those many hangings. And the only reason I'm not going to show them, because every time I show the hangings and show their children and their white children there pointing fingers and smiling and celebrating the death of the suffering of our people, they do something to the video, or they'll put a restriction on it. So that's the only reason I'm not going to do it. But she has that spirit, that lion spirit, like the woman who admitted on her deathbed, all right, that Emmett Till never said or did anything to her. After she lived a full life and got grandchildren, on her deathbed, she decides that she's gonna tell the truth. And right, and that poor young man, all right, because he was a young man, just like these young men she was trying to say was children, suffered a heinous and horrific, brutal and painful death at the hands of two Edomite, red Hebrew Edomites, her brethren, her forefathers.
So what does your group represent? What's your message? If you could give your message in one sentence, what would it be?
The message he wants sends is that we are the chosen people of God in Christ. Christ is a black man according to the Bible.
And that's the problem I have with them. They see, this is some of these brothers, even though they did a lot of things right, they did a lot of things wrong. They should have killed that black and white mess, man. All right, and killed that Christ garbage. They should have said the name. That's what makes me think some kind of way of be suspect about brothers like this, man. Every time you get a platform, here you are being interviewed and the name Yahweh and Yahweh Shai didn't come out once. And you're giving them a license to continue with this black and white lie.
Christ is very, very upset with America because what America did to God's chosen people. And Christ gonna come back with the angels, what they call UFOs, really that beagles are the angels, what they call UFOs. Christ gonna come back in the chariots to deliver the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel from this current captivity that we're in.
Okay, and what is your group called?
We are the Hebrew Israelites according to the Bible.
Is this the group that was at the Covington Catholic controversy telling the white kids there that their intestines should be strewn all over the ground? Is this the same group?
We are not the same group, but we all teach and use the Bible to back up what we're saying. So they use the Bible, we use the Bible. You see what I'm saying? So we scattered to the four corners of the earth teaching the word of God according to the Bible. You see what I'm saying? That's what we're teaching. So the truth is, give me a scripture. Go back to Isaiah 82.
So they were also black Hebrew Israel.
There you go. And he's already told her twice that Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right, make up the 12 tribes of Israel. And look what she does. All right? Forcing that false narrative, which is a trigger word for sensationalism. And knowing that the public are ignorant, majority of the public are ignorant to these facts.
Israelites, were they not the same group?
But see, what you have to understand is that we already have the victory. The book has already been written.
It's not black Hebrew Israelite. We are Hebrew Israelites.
Okay, was that not the same group involved in that Covington case at the Washington, D.C. Memorial? Was that not the same group?
We're not the same group, but we know them. And we are feeling.
Will you disavow the things that they said to those white kids?
What things are you talking about? Disavow what?
They said that they were incest, they were cousin they're going to hell. They said that their intestines should be...
Wait a minute. Is not the whole royal family all interrelated? Some of them brother and sisters? Is that not true? And it's even been said that that a lot of the presidents were all related to each other, cousins. Okay? Your history is littered with that.
Strewn across the floor. Can you disavow those statements?
Give me Isaiah 14:21.
Will you just disavow? Will you disavow that they told those teenage kids that their intestines should be strewn across the floor?
Like I said in the beginning, mass murderers, rape, robbery. How was America established? Yeah, and they hate that R word, reparations. Murdering of Gad, enslavement of Gad. The transatlantic slave trade began with the so-called natives. Those are some of those black Meshikas that he was talking about.
God got to say, okay?
Will you disavow it? Someone that knows them.
We represent God. We know them, they represent God. So we're going to read you what God got to say, okay?
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 21. Prepare slaughter for his children.
God say prepare slaughter for his children, meaning the Caucasian race. Prepare slaughter for their children. Go ahead.
For the iniquity of their fathers.
For what your forefathers did during the time of
So you won't disavow it. You think it's okay to say that to teenagers?
Go ahead.
Playing the victim.
Luke.
I'm going to take that as a yes. You guys think it's okay to say that. I just want a yes or a no. Yes or no. Yes or no. Do you think it's okay to treat them like that? Yes or no?
Listen. Look at that sign down there.
I'm going to take that as a no. I'm going to take that as a no. I'm going to take that as a no. That's gross. You won't disavow the people. Can you disavow it?
But listen. Was not the black people during the time of slavery, was not their children used for alligator bait? Was not their children fingers cut off?
I am asking masculinity?
No.
No, that's in your organization. Told these teenagers. Well, I will answer your question. I will. Is this toxic masculinity?
No. We.
You see that wicked comment? All right, this woman is truly a devil, man. A slanderer and an inciter. Then she turns to the crowd and tries to rallies the crowd to violence and said, this is why we need guns. So because if there happened to be some armed mass murdering, shooting Edomites there, they might have shot up all the brothers and shot up everybody on the damn beach, man. All right, because that's what she tried to do. But you know what? This is Ezekiel 25 and verse 12. All right, because the judgment for Edom, for the red Hebrew Edomite, is already written. All right, and this is going to come to pass. And it's nothing that anybody can do about it. I can't do anything about it. She can't do anything about it. This is going to happen. All right, Ezekiel 25 and 12. And it says, thus saith Yahweh power, because of Edom have dealt against the house of Judah by taking vengeance, and have greatly offended and revenged himself upon them. Therefore, thus saith Yahweh power, I will also stretch out my hand upon Edom, and when I will cut off man and beast from it, and I will make it desolate from Teman, and they of the Dan shall fall by the sword. And I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel, and they shall do in Edom according to mine anger, and according to my fury. And they shall know my vengeance, saith Yahweh power. Call halal Yahweh by Shem Abishai by Shem Rakak Badash. Wa Abad Babal. Shalom.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to say call line wa Yahweh by Shem Abishai by Hashem Rakak Badash. Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father in the Paleo, all right, the ancient Hebrew. All right, the Lashwan Quadash, the Holy Tongue. Yahweh is the true name of the Lord. And Yahweh Shai is his only begotten Son. All right, it's not God and Jesus Christ. All right, those are titles. You know, Christ is a title. God's a title. All right. The proper names for the Heavenly Father and his only begotten Son are Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. And we come in the Rakak Quadash, which is the set apart spirit, the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth. I want to say salutations to the Akim out there, the 144,000 from the 12 tribes, the men of the Lord, the servants, the prophets. All right, who are standing boldly on the four corners, doing this work, sincerely and truthfully, on down to the righteous remnant of Yasharal as well, the men, women, and children who believe this report. And basically, it's old news now, but last couple of days, you've had Alex, CIA Project Mockingbird Jones, and that little hussy, Caitlin Bennett, you know, coming against the what they would call the Black Hebrew Israelites, which, you know, that whole black Hebrew Israelite thing, you know, that's what Esau Edom, the so-called white man, wants to push. All right. But there's no such thing as a black Hebrew Israelite. All right. But that's how these Edomite agents of Satan, you know, how they refer to the men of the Lord and to the people of the Lord in general as black. All right. But anyway, side note, but the last couple of days, you know, you've seen brothers do videos. You've seen the video of Caitlin Bennett rolling up on the brothers of Venice Beach. Okay. And she asked them to disavow some of the comments that were made, you know, when all that shit went down with the Covington, the Catholic Covington, those little high school students, when they was in Washington D.C., you know, the brothers preaching the truth in D.C. That video went viral, but she was asking them to disavow. She was asking them to disavow the Bible. All right. And Alex Jones interviewed Caitlin Bennett, and I guess this would have been yesterday, February 27, 2019, or maybe even the day before. Recently is the point, but Alex Jones interviewed Caitlin Bennett about her run-in, all right, with the brothers of Venice Beach. All right, and Caitlin Bennett was you know, wondering why the mainstream media hadn't picked up on this yet. You know, she was asking, you know, where is the New York Times? Where is where's MSNBC? Where is Fox News? You know, and you know, it's the persecution is about to be taken to the next level by these Jewish devils. All right, the Jewish international bankers at the top. All right, the banking families, the international bankers, that's the elites, the Amalekites, the synagogue of Satan. They're about to take the persecution to the next level. All right. That's the time we're headed into, you know, the persecution of the saints. She was calling for the persecution of the saints, man. I mean, that's what she was calling for, you know, and again, man, Alex Jones, he's a CIA operative. He works for the Amalekites. Okay, he's controlled opposition. He's a gatekeeper for the elites. All right, he's not going against the New World Order. He's part of their construct. All right, he plays a role. All right, they're agents of Satan, man. Caitlin Bennett, that little floozy, all right, that little hussy, she's an agent of Satan, man. All right, but they're calling for blood, man. They are calling for the blood. They're calling for the blood of the saints, man. They're calling for the blood of the saints, and that's the time we're in. You know, Yahweh Shai in Luke, the 21st chapter, which I'm going to read. You know, I don't want to write this out. Yahweh Shai spoke at a time when his men would be drugged before rulers, man. And that's what's going to happen. You know, there's certain brothers marked. There's certain brothers marked, all right? Certain brothers who will have to stand in that light, you know, who will be drugged before governors and kings and the nobles of the society to give testimony, man, to bear witness to the names Yahweh Ba'ashem, or Yahweh Yahweh Shai. All right, to testify of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, to testify of Yahweh Shai's return in glory, and to testify of this kingdom's doom, man. It's imminent doom. All right. And that's one thing the elder brother Malcolm mentioned in his response. That's one thing to keep in mind. See, because those dudes in Venice Beach, they were the one brother was saying Christ. Okay. Nah, his name isn't Christ. All right. Christ is a Greek title. All right. Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, is coming. All right. So, like the brother said, the elder brother Malcolm in Chicago, like he said, you know, they missed out on an opportunity to promote and lift up that standard, to lift up the name Yahweh Shai, to lift up the names Yahweh Shai. They missed out there. All right. And they missed out on explaining or going into the confusion of faith. All right. That's a huge part of this, you know, because that destroys their whole black-white bullshit. That tears down that whole black-white thing, you know, the confusion of faces, that it's not just simply so-called blacks. You know, you got the Latin tribes, so-called Latin, Hispanic tribes, you know, the Northern Kingdom. And then you have confusion of faces, Israelites who look like the nations, you know. So those brothers missed out on an opportunity. But the men of the Lord, the men preaching and teaching the correct doctrine handed down, all right, by the apostles of Great Millstone at the top, you know, the men preaching in the names, in the correct names, all right, the men of the Lord are going to be brought before these people, all right, not anyone preaching Christ, all right. It's going to be the men of the Lord that go and testify, all right, because Yahweh Shai said it's going to be for his name's sake, and his name is Yahweh Shai. It ain't Christ, all right. It is not Christ, but persecution is coming. This is you know, many videos already have been done on this. This is just some thoughts I had on the topic. But this is Luke's 21. And verse 12. Luke's 21:12. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. All right, so it's going to be the men who preach and teach in the names Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, who are going to be drug into court, drug into the United Nations, you know, drug into city halls and you know, state capitol buildings, all right, to testify, all right, to say, hey, yeah, you know, to basically say, hey, this is it. Your kingdom's going down. There ain't nothing you can do about it. It's the judgment written in the scriptures. All right, America's going to be destroyed. All right, all you so-called white people, all right, are going to be destroyed in this thermonuclear war, and then you're going into slavery. All right, there are going to be brothers that have to do that, and who have to testify of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. It's going to happen, and that's what that Caitlin Bennett, what she was saying. I mean, she was basically provocatory. She was egging on the crowd. You know, they want blood, man. They want blood. That's what they want. All right, they want blood. They are bloodthirsty animals. They're bloodthirsty cretins. They want blood. All right. Yeah, because she was saying in her interview with Alex CIA Project Mockingbird Jones, aka Bill Hicks, she was saying, why hasn't the mainstream media gotten involved? You know, and supposedly InfoWars, you know, they promote themselves as, you know, alternative media. They're not. They're all part of the same construct. Okay, it's controlled opposition, man. They're not fighting against the New World Order. They're part of it. All right. Alex Jones is just a puppet for the elites, man. He works for them. So they're not, you know, but she was clamoring, man, for the mainstream media outlets to get a hold of this story, to get a hold of this interview, and draw their attention to the so-called black Hebrew Israelites. All right. So the time of going before kings and rulers is coming, man. All right. It says, and it shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle it therefore, verse 14, in your hearts, not to meditate before what ye shall answer. So you don't got to worry about it. You know, if Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai wants to use you, all right, to testify, all right, in front of these kings and rulers and the nobles of this society, all right, you don't got to worry about like writing out a speech or getting precepts together or crafting something up. You know, you don't got to sweat that, because Yahweh Shai said you're going to be given a mouth and wisdom. All right. We speak for Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. We're on the highways and hedges. We're not speaking our words. You know, we prove all things to the scriptures. 1 Thessalonians 5:21 says to prove all things. So when someone inquires or asks questions, ultimately how we prove all right, this truth is through the scriptures. All right. But you don't got to worry about it, man. You know, you don't have to like contemplate, oh man, what am I going to say? You know, will I bring out the right precepts? Nah, man. He's going to give you a mouth of wisdom. And it says it in verse 15. It says, for I will give you a mouth of wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. They're not going to be able to refute anything that's said, because you're going to be speaking for Yahweh Shai himself, for Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. When this persecution rolls in, all right, and it's coming, man. It's coming, because It's going to happen more and more. You're going to have more and more reporters, you know. And, you know, Caitlin Bennett said, you know, they weren't even there to talk about, to talk to the Brothers of Venice Beach. But that just shows you that Yahweh Bashem Yahushua controls all things, man. You know, a man's goings are of the Lord. A man's goings are of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. They weren't even there to speak to those men. But the Lord had it set up to where he put the spirit on her to walk over to those men and to hear that truth. All right. Now, they didn't get the name, you know, and they didn't get all the different breakdowns in that little clip. But that's okay. The Lord is going to use his prophets, the prophets of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, to testify against this wicked ass kingdom where you got fucking YouTube messaging now, you know, advocating for child suicide, man, with this fucking Momo, this satanic Momo challenge, which you've seen the elder brother Gabar and actually the brother out on the West Coast, you know, speak on the last couple of days. This Momo challenge, man, which I had to alert my children to it, man. You know, one of my oldest sons, he called me asking about it, man, because he said he's seen it. And I was actually able to watch a little bit of a video with him on the topic, man. You know, it's fucking sick, man. Now I hear on Netflix, they're promoting a cartoon which is pushing their pedophilia, man. These people are sick, twisted fucks, man. And Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to burn every last one of them up, man, in this nuclear war. That's what's coming on America, man. All right? But this persecution's coming. All right, the persecution of saints. Alex Jones is calling for the persecution of the saints. All right, the children of Israel. All right, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians, scattered confusion of faces. Alex Jones, CIA Project Mockingbird, is calling for the persecution of the saints. Caitlin Bennett, all right, sideline floozy for InfoWars, all right, little hussy reporter, she's calling for the blood of the saints, all right, and that call is going to grow louder and louder and louder and louder, and then you're going to have the goddamn 2/3, all right, the unbelieving house of Saul, all right, calling for the blood of the saints, man. All right, it's the men of the Lord, man, at the top of the apostles and elders of great millstone who are preaching the 100% truth, man. And that's who these elites want to take out. All right. Yeah, those men, they got a lot of truth, man. They was preaching a lot of truth, but they didn't push the name, and they failed to correct her on the black Hebrew Israelite. All right, because they pushed that black only vibe, man. But the truth is going to come out, man. The truth is going to come out. All right, the Lord's going to have his men, all right, go before these kings and rulers and nobles and princes in this fallen kingdom, queendom, all right, and testify, man, and say things like Esau is the end of the world, but Jacob is the beginning of it, to follow it, to speak the Bible, man, to tell them of the nuclear destruction that's coming and the chariots that are coming, to be the elect, all right. That's coming, man. Hey, persecution's coming. All right. They hated Yahushua. They've always hated the prophets. All right. They've always slain the prophets. All right. They've always, the 2/3, the unbelievers. All right. They've always conspired with the ruling authorities of the day to come against the Lord's elect. It's going to happen again, man, in this last day. In this last time, it's going to happen again. All right. Persecution, man. You know, matter of fact, and I'm going to end it. I'm going to skip further down in Luke 21. This is Luke 21 and 34. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your heart be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, and so that they come upon you unawares. Right, man. Don't be consumed with the stupidity and trivial shit and the daily grind of this life, man. Don't let that overtake you, all right? Stay spiritual. The brother the other day did a video, stay spiritual, you know, because we're in this weak, beggarly flesh right now, all right? These everlasting chains of darkness, and so you got to stay spiritual. It says, for as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch ye therefore, verse 36, and pray always that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. Right, so it's a time of sobriety, being sober in the spirit, all right, being mindful of the things to come, knowing that the persecution is coming, you know, and being watchful of these prophecies which we're speaking, man. We're coming into the time of the persecution of the saints, man. All right, we're coming into that time. We're coming into the time of martyrdom, and the comfort, man, is hey, the dead in Hamashiach shall rise first. All right, there's that comfort. But yeah, man, Yahweh said to watch, and he said to pray always. All right, the Apostle Paul repeated the same thing. All right, pray without ceasing. You know, pray that you're worthy to escape all this commotion that's coming in, calamity and destruction. All right, pray that you're able to withstand, man, and that you're able to stand before the Son of Man. All right, whose name is Yahweh Shai. I don't want to brought this out. You edifying with that. I don't want to say Shalom.
God said to prepare your butts for slaughter today.
Does he deserve to die?
God said yes.
Can you tell me like what this is?
You got a question?
Yeah, can you just like explain, I guess, what you're doing or what your group represents?
Okay, according to the Bible, black people, Hispanic people, Native American Indians, we are the 12 lost tribes of the nation of Israel, according to biblical history, world history, and archaeology, so on and so forth, man.
So what does your group represent? What's your message? If you could give your message in one sentence, what would it be?
The message in one sentence is that we are the chosen people of God in Christ. Christ is a black man, according to the Bible. Christ is very, very upset with America because what America did to God's chosen people. And Christ gonna come back with the angels, what they call UFOs. Really, that vehicles are the angels, what they call UFOs. Christ gonna come back in the chariots to deliver the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel from this current captivity that we're in.
Okay, and what is your group called?
We are the Hebrew Israelites according to the Bible.
Is this the group that was at the Covington Catholic controversy, telling the white kids there that their intestines should be strewn all over the ground? Is this the same group?
We are not the same group, but we all teach and use the Bible to back up what we're saying. So they use the Bible, we use the Bible. You see what I'm saying? So we scattered to the four corners of the earth teaching the word of God according to the Bible. You see what I'm saying? That's what we're teaching. So the truth is, give me a scripture. Go back to Isaiah 8 and 20.
So they were also black Hebrew Israelites. Were they not the same group?
Can I say this? It's not black Hebrew Israelite. We are Hebrew Israelites.
Okay, was that not the same group involved in that Covington case at the Washington, D.C. Memorial? Was that not the same group?
We're not the same group, but we know them. And we affiliate.
Will you disavow the things that they said to those white kids?
What things are you talking about? Disavow what?
They said that they were incest, they were cousin they're going to hell. They said that their intestines should be strewn across the floor. Can you disavow those statements?
Give me Isaiah 14:21.
Will you just disavow? Will you disavow that they told those teenage kids that their intestines should be strewn across the floor?
God got to say, okay?
Will you disavow it as someone that knows them?
We represent God. We know them, they represent God. So we're going to read to you what God got to say, okay?
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 21. Prepare slaughter for his children.
God said prepare slaughter for his children, meaning the Caucasian race. Prepare slaughter for their children. Go ahead.
For the iniquity of their fathers.
For what your forefathers did during the time of slavery.
So you won't disavow it? You think it's okay to say that to teenagers?
Go ahead.
That they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities.
Now give me Luke.
I'm going to take that as a yes. You guys think it's okay to say that? I just want a yes or a no. Yes or no. Yes or no. Do you think it's okay to treat them like that? Yes or no?
Listen, look at that sign down there.
I'm going to take that as a no. I'm going to take that as a no. I'm going to take that as a no. That's gross. You won't disavow the people. Can you disavow it?
But listen. Was not the black people during the time of slavery, was not their children used for alligator bait? Was not their children fingers cut off?
I'm asking if it's okay that someone you know that's in your organization told these teenagers. Well, I will answer your question. I will. Is this toxic masculinity?
No. We showing you that
oh, I'm not a feminist.
Listen, you guys did it to our children.
I didn't do anything to you. I didn't do anything to you. Will you disavow treating young children like that in public?
So the only thing the brother was saying, the same way you guys did our children.
I didn't do anything to your children.
Your forefathers did.
No.
So what the brother was
How do you know where I'm from?
You're Caucasian. You're white. Yes, you are.
How do you know that?
We're looking at you.
How do you know my ancestors did anything to anybody?
What's your nationality then?
So now you're going to ask because you don't know.
We already know. What's your nationality?
What did your ancestors do?
We came on the...
For a period of nearly 80 years between the Civil War and World War II, black Southerners were no longer slaves, but they were not yet free.
What happened in that period of time was so much more terrible than anything most Americans recognize or understand today.
In one of the most shameful chapters of American history, generations of black Southerners were forced to labor against their will.
Free black people could be just picked up and put in jail. The sheriff department could sell people to corporations and coal mines.
He locked me up for 3 days. And after that, he said, if I don't go to work, he'll put me in the river down there.
People's lives were truly stolen from them. Their freedom was taken away.
All the southern states use the criminal justice system to put African Americans back into a position as close to slavery as they possibly could.
These were real people who were deemed to be of no value. Maybe now, through the telling of this history, these individuals can receive some measure of justice.
Oh, okay, well, I'm going to give you one more chance. I'm going to give you guys one more chance. Will you disavow those comments where they said those white kids deserve to have their intestines strewn? Will you disavow that?
This is your answer. Go ahead. Revelations chapter 13, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword.
Disembowel little children.
Will you? So you think that's okay if they're white?
Must be killed with
Is that
the
okay?
sword.
God says you guys must be killed with the sword.
So you're saying the white people must be killed with a sword?
This is the King James 611 Bible. That's what
You guys
God
think
says.
anything's wrong with that? Murder? Is that okay? No, slavery is not okay. It was never okay. But why would you combat it with the same? So you're gonna do that to white people?
The Bible, this is the word of God. God says you are going to be killed.
You're saying these horrible things that are making...
This was written before slavery, so you can't even interpret that to slavery. This was written way before slavery. This was written way before slavery.
This is so ridiculous.
What does it say? Does it not say, read Revelation 13 verse 9 again? They're hard of hearing. People obviously don't have ears, okay? But we're going to read it anyway.
Sir.
For the people that do have ears.
Sir.
He that leadeth into captivity.
So wait, let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. Does he deserve to die because he's white? Does he deserve to die? Guys, does he deserve to die? Does he deserve to die?
Into captivity.
God says
does he deserve to die?
To be
God said it.
Does he deserve to die?
God said yes.
So what are you guys doing out here? You're preaching the word, but you don't have the balls to do it yourself? You don't have the balls to do it yourself.
Our ancestors during the slave trade,
must be killed with the sword.
So as a result
all right, guys, so what we have here is a bunch of black people saying that white people deserve to die. White people, absolutely.
That's exactly what's being said.
How is that not racist?
It is racist.
Oh, so you're admitting it?
It is absolutely racist.
Why is that okay? It is not okay to say people deserve to die.
That's it. You got to deal with us over here, okay?
So, no, I can deal with whoever I want to. You guys are advocating for murder of a certain race.
In 1939, Margaret Sanger, co-founder of Planned Parenthood, started the Negro Project with the aim of slowing and then reversing the growth of the black population. A staunch advocate of eugenics, the so-called science of purifying the human gene pool, Sanger viewed certain races, especially blacks, as genetically inferior and inclined towards producing human weeds. Reckless breeders spawning human beings who never should have been born. Sanger's strategy, still followed by Planned Parenthood today, involved recruiting so-called progressive black leaders who were persuaded that slowing back birth rates was a key to their people's future success and prosperity. A profoundly disproportionate number of abortion clinics were placed near the inner cities. And since then, an equally disproportionate number of our African American population, more than 15 million, has been weeded out by abortion.
On this fundamental issue, I will not yield, and Planned Parenthood will not yield, because we know that what's at stake is more than whether or not a woman can choose an abortion. Choices about how we lead our lives.
As the most pro-abortion candidate in American history, Barack Obama will make sure this weeding continues. Say no to abortion. Say no to black genocide in the Negro Project. Say no to Barack Obama.
When Margaret Sanger, check my history, started Planned Parenthood, the objective was to put these centers in primarily black communities so they could help kill black babies before they came into the world. You don't see that talked that much about. It's Planned Parenthood. No, it's planned genocide. And you can quote me on that.
Between 1946 and 1948, more than 1,500 people in Guatemala were part of an experiment by American doctors, infected with syphilis. An investigation by the government of Guatemala says this was done to test the effectiveness of penicillin. Rafael Espada is the country's vice president. He says the experiment was carried out by 10 doctors from the U.S. and 12 from Guatemala. A group of prostitutes was used by the doctors to infect prisoners and then the soldiers. More experiments were done with mentally ill patients and orphans. A Wellesley College professor made the find, uncovering medical records while looking for more information on the Tuskegee syphilis study in Alabama. In Tuskegee, already infected patients were not treated. They were all African Americans, the study done to chart the evolution of the disease.
There were questions. They knew it was on the ethical edge.
In Guatemala, victims are suing the U.S. government and the Pan American Health Organization. From President Barack Obama, an apology, but attorneys believe the victims deserve more than this.
We took people who were healthy and intentionally gave them this disease without them ever knowing what was being done to them.
The case has caused an uproar in Guatemala, where victims and witnesses say the experiments continued after 1948. And since the records went public, new victims have come forward. Carlos Telon suspects his brother, Victor Manuel, was infected in the psychiatric hospital. The doctor that treated him for years was one of those mentioned in the syphilis study, he says. Victor Manuel is now paralyzed, with numerous scars on the base of his spine and on his genitals. Now his brother hopes the lawsuit will bring better treatment and a decent bed. Lee Powell, The Associated Press.
If you're
That's
not going
disgusting.
to answer our questions, we
You're
are
saying
not
I
going
deserve
to
to
answer
die.
your questions.
Oh my God, this is why we should have guns. Holy
Verse 21 again.
No.
Prepare slaughter for his children. You are the children of your forefathers that put in a lot of work to do this to the so-called
So I deserve
Negro
to die because I'm white.
and Native
So
Indians,
I
right?
deserve to die because
You are
I'm
the
white.
children of your
I
forefathers.
deserve. Do I deserve to die?
Wait, read from the top again.
Do I deserve to die? Do I?
Absolutely.
I deserve to die.
Absolutely do deserve to die.
All right.
God said, prepare your people for
I think you guys are a bunch of. That's what you are. All right, these guys are a bunch of. Holy Holy stand behind a microphone. You guys aren't going to do by yourselves. All right, yeah, all right. This is some toxic masculinity. Look how, do you think these